Welcome to the Daily Social Distancing Show, man. It's good to have you on, and I'm not going to waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. You know, you made news because you unveiled what you call the contract with Black America. And before we get into like the whole Donald Trump of everything and just how the news spiraled, I just wanted to talk to you about the contract. It's a 13-part plan that was inspired by many of the things that happened during 2020, but really the journey that Black Americans have been on. What is this 13 plan for America?
Well, I mean, it's actually more than that. We have a 22-page plan. We had 13 pretty much bullet points that we wanted to try to get, senators and Congress people and people to kind of agree to and hopefully sign.
Yeah.
And so we were more or less pushing an abbreviated version of concepts. But the contract is thorough and it's growing. We're going to add a section on sports. We're going to add a section on women, Black women. So we're growing the contract, daily. So the 13 points were just common sense things, things that can, hopefully, open up the wealth gap. Everybody's been really putting a lot of energy into police brutality.
Right.
So we wanted to put energy into economics because we believe, economics can solve some of our problems, not all of our problems, but, you have 13% of the people fighting for basically half a percentage point of wealth. So that causes a lot of problems in itself. You can imagine 13 people trying to share half a plate of food.
Right.
It'll go down.
You've always been someone who's been outspoken, but this year it feels like something changed in you. It feels like you became a little angry. It feels like you became a little more like there was a catalyst that pushed you. What do you think that was? Was it one thing, or was it just the moment in time becoming so big?
I've always been an artist that believe in pushing the envelope. Sometimes being a little disruptive to make sure things are heard like they're supposed to be. But the situation with George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, was something that I just couldn't let slide. And I felt like when I look around, it's our turn. It's my generation turn to try to make some of these social things happen for our people and try to push, all the pressure points available to make something dramatic and big and impactful happen for our people here. That's really what sparked me on this quest to, create the contract with Black America, promote the contract with Black America. It's dealing with not only the government, but the private industries, because I think they've worked together to keep us down. So, there's enough blame to go around, and we just want people to fess up, own up, and pay up. This is our money. We're not asking for other people's money. This is our money that, our ancestors earned in a lot of ways. We're continue to earn this money, and we continue to pay taxes and still not get any of the programs, from the Homestead Act to the GI Bill to, the PPP loans,
Right.
all these things that are in place to help average Americans. Most of the time we're shut out, cut out, or basically disrespected and cheated. So, I just think it's a debt that the country owe and that the country has to pay up because the country is coming apart at the seams. If they want to stop it, they'll stop this unfair treatment of Black people here in America.
It's Interesting that you say that, because this was the year when some people were awakened. Many people knew this was happening, but this was the year when en masse, I would say, many Americans said, okay, we see that there's a deep problem here. We have to try and fix it. It was surprising to me when I woke up and I read a news article that said Ice Cube supporting Trump. And I was like, and I always know a headline doesn't tell a full story. I clicked on the story, I read through it. It seemed messy. But I know you were trying to speak to multiple politicians, and then the only story that came out was Ice Cube is now a Trump supporter, and he says Trump is good for black people and Biden and Kamala aren't. From your perspective, what happened?
Well, I mean, I never said that. You know, I put out a plan. Both campaigns wanted to talk to me about it. And, I was eager to talk to both campaigns. I'm done playing this politic game, join the sides. To me, that doesn't get the job done. What gets the job done is to, try to make a deal with whoever's in power, and hopefully they see what we're going through. Now we don't know who's going to win, and so the fact that we don't know that is the reason why I felt like we need to meet with both sides. People get mad because they pick their sides. People get mad because they have their perks or whatever they're going to get from each party, and they want me to pick a side, and they're upset because I haven't. But if I pick the side, I don't think, talking about the issues of the Black community would still be on the tongues of and on the minds and on the consciousness of both of these campaigns. I think, everybody knows that both of these campaigns are going after white women voters at this point in time. So I think we would have been just kind of, put in the back pocket. So
Right, like an afterthought. I hear you.
I want to keep our issues, top of mind and at the forefront of everything.
Right.
And so, you know, it's politics. The Trump campaign put out those headlines, but you got both sides putting out headlines. You got celebrities on both sides with headlines. Campaigns try to use political footballs in any way they can. At the end of the day, American people smarter than that. American people gonna look at all the facts and go and vote for the person they believe can win and do a better job. So,
were you worried at all, though, as Ice Cube, that Trump and his people would try and play it like you are supporting them? Were you worried at all? I mean, once like Don Jr. started putting up a picture of you wearing a MAGA hat, and they try to make it seem like, yeah, Ice Cube is our guy, as opposed to Ice Cube is a black man who's coming here with a plan for black people.
well, I mean, I know whoever did and tried to use me like that would be, mistaken, because I was gonna come out and tell the real. I'm gonna always speak the truth, and that's the problem. I understand the game. I don't mind, people taking shots at me because I talk to both sides of the aisle. But I always believe this, is a nonpartisan issue. I've been saying bipartisan, but it's really a nonpartisan issue. No matter what
Right.
side of the fence you on, it's time for both sides to come together and solve this problem.
You've always been somebody who's about bringing people together. You've spoken your mind in your music. You've got fans from all walks of life, and I know a lot of people were shaken and disappointed when earlier this year you had a few tweets that came out that were anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. And I know, maybe from my life growing up in South Africa, but I've seen a similarity in America where a lot of people feel like the Jewish community and the black community are natural allies in some experiences that we've shared. And you came out afterwards and said, "Hey, man, I was misguided and misinformed." What have you learned since that experience?
I mean, I never said I was misguided and misinformed. I just thought, it was I was being clumped in with other people. I put up a piece of art that pained me for my reasons, and then I realized it pained other people for their reasons. And so, that's what art does. Art provokes thought. Being an artist that's what, I dream to do, is provoke thought, provoke people to see a different version of reality, to understand that, you know, things can come at many different angles or
Right.
different perspectives. All I want is fairness and justice, and I'm gonna speak truth wherever I see it or believe it. And so, it was unfortunate that some people took me as, anti-Semitic person, but I think there's just too much history to show that I'm not.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate the work that you're putting in. And to your point, regardless of who wins, I hope that black people win on the other side of the election, because then that's equality and justice for everyone. So thank you for taking the time, Ice Cube.
Thanks, Trevor. Hey, if no matter who wins, it's all about trying to make this country better. And that's what we need to do, and we need to solve this problem and make this country better than it is today.
I appreciate you, my dude, for real.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out.